Did you know that 8 million tons of plastic flow into the ocean every single year? It's a staggering statistic. And you're probably thinking, well, I'm not even here to tell you why you should or shouldn't care about how much you consume plastics and or what's important about it. Because I personally don't even like the beach. I mean, the minute I get outside, this fair skin burns like you've never seen. So I avoid the beach at all costs. But there is a guy that does care a lot, and his name is Boyan Slat. And Boyan Slat was 17 years old, and he went on a vacation to Spain. And he was so excited about this vacation, and he planned this whole trip. And the first day, he goes out to snorkel, and he gets out in the water, and he jumps in this beautiful beach in Spain, and all of a sudden, there's plastic everywhere. He couldn't believe it. Everything he had been thinking about from this great vacation was not what he expected. And so he said, maybe I just found the wrong place in Spain. So the next day, he found another beach in Spain, and he jumped in the water to snorkel, and what did he find again? He found plastic. He couldn't believe it. The next 12 days of his vacation, he spent collecting plastic from the waters around Spain. Every night he would take them home, bags at a time, and he would study where this plastic was coming from in hopes to find something out. He studied and he studied and he studied. What that turned into is a movement around cleaning our oceans. Boyan Slat has gone on to raise over $30 million to clean our ocean waters. He didn't just measure the amount of pollution in our waters. He went to go do something about it. Today, he's 24 years old, and they just sent something out from San Francisco to go solve this problem. Now, you're probably thinking, it's not going well right now, but they're working on it. But you're probably thinking, John, why are we talking about pollution? This is HR. This is human beings. Well, because there's probably every single person in this room that's in HR has probably been a part of some kind of employee engagement survey. How's our culture and our organization? Are our people engaged in their work? There's a lot of measuring going on. But then you go take that survey the next year, and does it change a whole lot? Rarely it changes. So what I'm here to tell you tonight is that your job is not to measure the culture or the employee engagement in your organization. Your job is to impact it. Your job is to impact it, just like my man Boyan Slat. He is out to impact it. Now, I have a present for someone in this room tonight, and I've been carefully studying who might make the best recipient of this gift. And I'm going to go with Jake. Jake, this is for you. I've been thinking a lot about this. So you got to come up here. You got to open this present, okay? I've been carefully studying who in this room could best impact the culture in their organization. So all you got to do is unwrap it from the top. I just felt like you were the guy. I don't know why, Jake. Right here. And tell us what's in that thing. You can just pull it right here. It's a mirror. Who's in that mirror, Jake? That would be Jake. Thank you. The point here, okay, is that Jake can impact the culture in his organization. It's not just meant for the C-suite. It's not. I think if there's anything changing in HR today, more than anything, is the importance of the human element in human resources. Because that's what culture is. All culture is the shared values and beliefs that guide thinking and behavior. The shared values and beliefs that guide thinking and behavior. That's all it is. And what we've found is that there's 5 real levels of culture in organizations. We've studied thousands of them. And I like to start, instead of giving you everything that exists within each level of culture in your organization, I want to use something that we all can relate to. And I want to start at the lowest level. Has anyone ever been in a toxic culture before? Don't raise your hands. It's rhetorical. But I want to use the example. What I want to use the example of is something that we all experience every single day from a consumer perspective. Now, I have 2 kids. I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I was so excited. Mom was out of town, and I'm taking them to Toys R Us. And my kids just love toys. So we go in there, and in an instant, I was appalled. It was dirty. The employees were just the worst. It was one of the worst experiences I've ever had in a store. I am not surprised at all that they're closed. Not in the least. My was 5-year-old, now 7-year-old, turned to me and he said, Dad, this isn't what toy stores are supposed to be like, are they? That was the culture going on at Toys R Us. What about just above level 1 or toxic is what we call deficient. These are if you've ever flown an airline other than Southwest Airline, you've experienced a deficient culture. Nobody's very happy, and they just fly it because they have to, right? What about one level above that? Common. How many people have been to Chipotle? Everybody been to Chipotle? Great food. Everybody has a good experience. The food is excellent. And I was in this really long line the other day, and I get up to the front, and I'm pretty excited because I'm about to get a burrito bowl. Very health conscious these days. And he says, "What would you like?" It's like, whoa. Are you happy I'm here or what? It was great food, bad experience. Just average experience. One level above that, level 4. Somewhere I spend way too much money. This little place called Starbucks. Okay? I've really never had a bad experience in a Starbucks. And oftentimes people are so happy to work there. I'm just shocked. It's just wonderful. And last week I was in a Starbucks in South Park, and this place is just packed every day. It's unbelievable. And this manager is standing there. There's so many orders and mobile orders, and there's a brand new employee making coffee at the machine. And I could see she was overwhelmed, and her boss, out of nowhere, is helping make coffee right next to her. And he turns to her, and I'm about to get my coffee, and he turns to her and says, "You're doing a great job. If you need any help, let me know." A coffee shop on a Tuesday morning was where really good leadership was taking place. And that comes from culture. That's Starbucks. What about level 5, elite, where we all aspire to? What's a good example of that? Yes! Chick-fil-A. And I love this story because there's a lot. My wife must have been out of town a lot because I took my kids to Chick-fil-A. We had this gift card. I needed to burn like 4 or 5 hours. And so we go to Chick-fil-A, and there's this, the line is just astronomical. Like every single time I go in there, it's unbelievable. And she says, I finally get up to the front of the line. I order 3 meals. I give her this gift card. This 17, 18-year-old girl looks at me and she says, "Sir, I'm so sorry. This gift card is expired." I'm like, "You got to be kidding me. We just waited 20 minutes. I drove across town. And just at that moment, my 3-year-old daughter comes running through my legs, crying, 'My brother hit me.'" She looked at the situation. She said, "Sir, I'm really glad you came to Chick-fil-A today. We're going to accept this gift card." Not 1 minute did this 17 or 18-year-old girl turn around and ask who? She didn't ask a manager. She made the best decision right where the information was. Now, I've gone on to tell that story all over the country. They have made so much more money than that $20 that they gave me that day. Okay? But that is what an elite culture feels like. That's what it looks like. Now, I know I gave you these examples in a consumer-driven approach that we all can experience. I know your organizations aren't exactly like that. And you're probably thinking, I've kind of thought where my organization is right now. As I went through them, you're probably thinking, and you probably might know. But what are we here to do today? We're not here to measure our culture. We're here to impact it. So how do you go impact your culture? If you're a level 3 today, how do you get to a level 4? Because you're not going to get to a level 5 right away. It's a journey and it's not a destination. So what can you do? Well, through our research of thousands of companies, what we found is 5 really clear-cut building blocks around culture have emerged. The first is employee wellness. The second, deep purpose. The third, competitive compensation. The fourth, army of ambassadors. And the fifth, effective leadership. So if you want to go get better at your culture, these are the kind of things that you have to go impact. Now, the way she just introduced me, you're probably thinking, well, I'm going to talk about what? I built this company based on developing managers into leaders. So you think I'm going to talk about effective leadership, but I'm not. What I'm going to talk about is what you can most impact from an HR perspective. And that is deep purpose. That is deep purpose. And specifically, core values. Now, any organization that has deep purpose focuses in 3 big areas, and it's what we call the purpose trifecta. Their mission, their vision, and their values. But what we're going to focus on today is where HR has the most impact, and that is core values. Now, what is a core value? A core value is a fundamental belief that your organization holds to be true. They believe it in their core. Now, if we looked out this window tonight and we looked at all the companies that are in here, probably even in WeWork, they have some core value defined. And what are they? Honesty, transparency, customer-focused, one-word kind of things. What organization isn't going to believe those 3 things? They all do. So here's what core values have to look like today. They have to look like phrases. They have to be a phrase that clearly exemplifies how you want your people to behave. Now you're probably thinking, well, isn't that my CEO's job? It's not. This is what the best HR professionals today are doing. They're driving this kind of culture change because they're not there to measure it. They're there to what? Impact it. That's it. That's it. So there's a company right down the street that we work with that I think so highly of, and they've defined 5 core values that I think are just beautiful, and they've just been magnificent. It's nothing we've done. It's everything that they've done. And they hire based on them, they fire based on them, and they reward based on them. That's how you know they come to life, because people are not attracted to empty core values. Talented people are attracted to the exercising of the core values every single day. These guys right down the street, their core values are a part of their hiring process. They ask specific questions to see if their core values are aligned with that potential employee. Certainly, sometimes employees slip through the cracks. So then what do they have to do? They have to go fire them. And firing people is never easy, and I don't pretend it to be. But what happened across the street when they fired someone based on their core values? The other employees knew they were taking it serious. Wow, we know that you guys are dead serious about these core values because everybody knew that that guy did not live them out. That's how they come to life. That's how they come to life. And lastly, how do you reward, recognize, and talk about them on an ongoing basis? There's so many great sports coaches that do this. They give out awards not based on the MVP of the game. They give it out based on the player that best lives out their core values. You guys should do the same. If you want to, you can take a free assessment at learnloft.com/culture. You can find out exactly what level of culture exists in your organization today. And I appreciate your time. And I want to close with this. Remember my friend Boyan Slat. Remember my friend Boyan Slat. You are not just meant to measure the culture in your organization. You are meant to impact it. Thank you.